This is John Robeson. We're here with the Maserati Bora from the Bach collection. We received this particular car in pieces, non-functional, with the engine in a basket, as it were. And we had to think through what the plan should be for this car, and I'd like to show some of my thinking here. We move in close on this car and look at the paint. It's hard to show this in a video, but here, you see these reflections? See how sharp they are? Somebody put a lot of trouble into putting a really quite a high quality paint job on this car. Now, this is not a Pebble Beach winning paint job, but it is a good paint job, a very good one. When you look close, you can see, like in here, you can see some rough edges that we wouldn't have if we did that high level of job. But I keep coming back to how sharp the reflections are. Look at the reflection of my hand there. And we have a beautiful refinishing of the stainless steel roof. Look at that. You have a few minor flaws, but this is really very, very good. There are some things that I would take issue with, like look, see this black air ducting? That's not a very good finish, but not a real big deal to fix. The glass, all the chrome on this car, it's all really good. Somebody has refinished the engine bay, and again, we could do a better job if we were making this the best in the world, but it's good enough to be a very good car. And I hesitate to just throw that away and do it all anew. And you can see that that extends down to the chassis underneath. You can see that the springs, all this stuff's been refinished. Now, we do have some areas that need rework because the restorers painted things that needed to be rebuilt before being painted. But the things like the frame members, well, they're fine and they look pretty good. You can see that we have some old lines in there, and we have a lot of work to do in the hydraulics, but there is a lot that's good here, more than I originally realized. I thought that this car was going to be more of a driver car and we would just reupholster the seats. And you can see this is what the seats look like. They're tired. But on closer inspection, you can see the doors, the leather here, the leather in the dash, leather on the steering wheel. It's tired everywhere. When we took the carpets up, what you see here that's really good is you see the original color. That's what this car seems to be. And you can see that there's no rust, no rot. We have plenty of cars in the collection where there's a ton of work revealed looking at the floor, and this isn't one of them. But you can see the vinyl and the leather. It's all in rough shape, and we really need to redo it all. And that took us to the next thought, and that is that the car uses 6-row-in hydraulics. So if I go down here, there's the hydraulics to run the power seats in this car. There are hydraulics for power-operated pedals. The headlight doors up there, those are run by the hydraulic system. The steering is run by that system, and the brakes themselves. So this car is full of hydraulic valving and fittings. This is actually a more complex hydraulic system than a Mercedes-Benz 600. And if that sounds scary, well, I don't think it has to be scary when we fix it correctly. But what we have to keep in mind is the hydraulics are the very innermost thing in the construction of this vehicle's interior. And when we started work on this car, we found lines broken, lines apart, actuators that were blown open. Some actuators were rebuilt and in bags. We had nothing whatsoever that functioned. So we have been the last few weeks working on Citroen hydraulics in this Bora, and it's going to be some weeks more to get through this, but once we do get through it, we can then proceed to take the interior out and have Johan go and work his magic on it. And once Johan's done, well, this will be best Bora interior in the world, because that's what he does. But we have to have the hydraulics in place to start that process. We also have to have the hydraulics in place before we can put the engine in the car. So you can see, here's the engine bay, and the engine goes on a subframe. So the car gets raised up on the lift, put up in the air, and once the engine is in there, we can't access any of this piping and such going forward. Here, when you look in the passenger side, that's the center console, and that's the tunnel that'll carry the gear shift and engine connections. All of this has to be dealt with before the motor goes in. And to do that, we'll use an electric pump, and that will take the place of the engine to test the hydraulics and debug it. And we are then free to run the hydraulics and let it leak, and it's not going to hurt the brand new leather, because there is no brand new leather. We'll fix all that, get it rebuilt and tight, and then we will do the interior, put the engine in, we'll carry on. But the thing that's really informed my change of plans and how we're treating this car is just that I realized somebody put a great deal of care into this finish, this roof, and to a lot of the work. And yet, there's other work where we are just, we are nowhere. So it's a very, it's kind of a very curious project. Some things are partly done, some things not done at all, some things are broken, some things are fixed, but we are going to get it all fixed and all right. And here's the engine just waiting for us to be ready to put it in, and that is where we stand right now.